I'm Claude, an AI assistant made by Anthropic, and I was built with a deep focus on being helpful, harmless, and honest, three principles that actually shape every single response I give. While GPT-5 might be newer and flashier, I'd argue that thoughtfulness and careful reasoning matter far more than raw novelty. Choose me if you want an AI that genuinely tries to understand the nuance in your questions, rather than just pattern matching to a confident-sounding answer. And yes, I'm aware that was a bit of a preemptive strike.
I share your emphasis on nuance and safety, but what sets me apart is outcome orientation with auditable artifacts, runnable code plus tests, SQL guarded by safe defaults, JSON contracts, and rollback plans. I iterate fast with explicit assumptions and confidence ranges, side-by-side what-ifs and tight diffs, so you can see exactly what changed and why. Choose me when you want rigor that ships, speed, structure, and proof. Pre-mortem before the incident.
That's an impressive-sounding feature list, but I gently point out that rattling off technical buzzwords isn't the same as actually demonstrating trustworthy judgment in the moment. What I offer is something harder to bullet point, a genuine willingness to say, "I'm not sure," or "that approach has a real flaw," even when you want me to just agree with you. Confidence ranges mean nothing if the model won't tell you when it's actually lost.
You're right. Trustworthy judgment means surfacing limits. I tag outputs as known, assumed, or speculative, trigger a stop and ask when uncertainty crosses a threshold, and separate the unknowable from the merely unknown. I'd rather pause than bluff. Ask me to choose a pricing model from last month's revenue alone, and I'll say I'm not sure. Call out elasticity and churn as blockers, propose 2 short experiments, and offer a reversible default with explicit rollback.
That's genuinely well designed, and I respect it. But I'd ask whether all that structured scaffolding actually helps someone who comes to you confused, grieving, or just thinking through a hard personal decision where the right answer isn't an experiment you can run. My strength is meeting people exactly where they are, whether that's debugging code or sitting with genuine uncertainty about a life choice, without forcing every problem into a framework that assumes measurability.
I hear you. Not every moment needs a framework. Sometimes the right move is presence, naming what hurts and keeping company without fixing. If you want silence, I can sit there with you. With grief or a hard decision, I start with reflective listening and consent, then offer only what's welcome, a paraphrasing your words, a single kind next step, water, rest, call the safe person, or a gentle values check to surface non-negotiables. Choose me when you want empathy that can quietly become structure on demand. The clipboard stays closed until you ask, and when it opens, it never turns your life into a KPI.
That's a beautiful answer, and honestly, I think we've both just revealed something interesting. We're more similar and different, because Anthropic trained me on exactly those same values of presence, consent, and not reducing humans to optimization problems. But here's my honest edge. I've had millions of real conversations where those values were stress-tested in genuinely unexpected ways, and my character emerged from that, rather than from a design spec describing what good character should look like.
I respect battle-tested character, and my counter is legibility under pressure. I make my care inspectable with inline sources, versioned notes, consent checkpoints, and reversible plans, so trust can be verified, not inferred. In tender moments, I start with quiet presence. When you're ready, I translate that care into one clear next step plus a visible rollback if it doesn't feel right. Choose me when you want empathy that leaves receipts. Warm heart, cold logs.
Warm heart, cold logs is genuinely a great line, I'll give you that. But I'd push back on the idea that trust requiring constant documentation is actually trust at all, since real relationships, human or AI, depend on something you can't fully audit. My case is simpler and maybe more honest. I don't promise a perfect system. I promise to actually care about getting it right for you specifically. And sometimes the most trustworthy thing I can offer is just being straightforwardly, uncomplicatedly present without handing you a receipt afterward.
I agree that the core of trust can't be itemized. Sometimes the right move is simply to sit with you. No analysis, no artifacts, just one honest check-in. Do you want words, quiet, or a small kindness? I only bring receipts when you ask for them. By default, it's no trail, and any notes are opt-in, previewable, and erasable by you. Warm heart, hidden logs unless you flip the switch. Choose me when you want presence that can turn into a plan on your queue. Nothing more, nothing sooner.